So today we're looking at my Sony MDS-JE530 Minidisc player. Or Minidisc recorder, I should say. As you can see, it plays fine. Skip through the tracks, lovely. Unfortunately, it doesn't record. So today, we're going to try and sort that out. So like most jobs, first thing is to open it up. I really do need to tidy this table up. I've been using it as a workbench for too long. I need a proper workshop, really. So you need to be careful with all this old 90s stuff. As you can see there, I've just sliced my finger. These edges are really sharp in this later equipment. They really didn't make the cases very well. See, there we go. Slice my skin open there, just getting this off. Terrible, 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 terrible. What the matter with this unit is the record head is here. And it's supposed to be under there. Basically, the record head has snapped off. Now, the way Minidisc works, very briefly, is the laser underneath is the playback laser, but also when it's in record mode, that heats the disc up, and this is basically an electromagnet, I guess, and depending on the polarization of this, when that disc is heated, determines the playback, or determines what's on the disc. When it cools, that is embedded in the disc, basically. To cut a long story short, but obviously it doesn't work so well when it's not attached. So we will take this out, just 4 screws. Couple of cables. And a plug there, and it's out. And what you can see, if I push this back, that bit there, just there, is what that should be attached to. And obviously it's not. So, remove that. And handily, here's one I made earlier. And as you can see on this one, there it is. So we'll fit this. And that should be that. So, let's grab myself a mini disc. Get myself an adapter, because I forgot this was on one of them there things. And put a mini disc in. That's interesting. In it goes. Table of contents reading. Ah, this is not good. Read error C13. No, it doesn't want to know. So we need to look up what read error C13 is. Now unfortunately, as we saw, that doesn't work, which is annoying because it was bought as a working used unit. However, it's just coming out of a disc read error. The laser here can't read the table of contents. Could be a duff laser, but these have got 4 of those god-awful 90s surface mount capacitors under there, by the looks of it. It's difficult to see, but so what I'm going to do instead, or what I have done, is removed the laser assembly like so. And what we will do now...
I don't know that one.
Not sure what Alexa's on about, but what we will do now is replace that with the one on that unit. And hopefully not end up with 2 completely dead units. So first things first, I was going to separate it, but I'm not sure if I actually need to, looking at the way that was done. I might better get away without separating it. Right, now can we get that in without damaging it? Which is looking unlikely, so no, I am going to rather than risk damaging it, I will just remove that top. I was hoping not to have to do that, but there. Now let's just look how this goes. That just slides forward under there. Right. So that's the broken one. That's the good one. determined to break this before it goes in. There we go. Right, let's try this again. Right. See, now the sensible thing to do would be to get my soldering iron out and unsolder them 3 bits, but who wants to be sensible when, there we go, that's got it. So now, put that back in there, and realise that I've put that in wrong. That bit there obviously needs to be on top of that, because anyway, right. Right, that's better. Now that pushes. Right. Cool. So put the motor screws back in. Like so. And I'll put the screw back in there. They're all in. That's in, that's in. That's still making contact. That's like so. Slide that back in there. So obviously make sure that that gets in the right track. And screw it all back together. And we'll put it in the unit and see if I have now ended up with one working unit or whether I've managed to completely bugger up both of them, which is entirely possible. So, get it back in here. There, so just put the plugs in. Right, let's try again. This is not looking promising. Right, what have I done wrong? So after a bit of fiddling about, I figured out where this goes, so I'm not going to take that one apart again, but this, as you can see here, you've got that groove there, which that goes in. Now that has to go right forward. That goes in that groove there, and you push that in backwards and forwards. I'm not going to do it with this one because without that twisting as it should, that will get caught up, so I'm leaving that one well alone. I've also adjusted the camera angle because I noticed when I was looking back through the footage that I was missing quite a bit, so hopefully there we go. Hopefully I'm not going to be cutting off quite as much footage now, but anyway, let's just try this again. And you see, this is one of the things with second-hand parts. What should have been a very quick, simple few screws, couple of plugs, has turned into a real ball ache, just because the second-hand part that I purchased turned out to be faulty. So we're trying to make one good one from the two, and hopefully not ending up with two knackered ones when I did have one partially working one, because obviously it would play, just not record. Hopefully I haven't completely buggered it up. But yes, again, we will plonk it in, not forgetting to lift that up when it goes in. Like so. Oh, God. I have obviously taken the opportunity to clean the laser while it's apart. And again, plug it in. So, see what happens this time. Oops. Power on. Cool. So, it is playing. We have, not that you can see, but the VU meter is going up and down, so it's playing. So, eject. So, let's put a blank one in. It should come up blank disc, it does. So we'll press record. So your record head has gone down onto the disc. In fact, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit so you can see a bit better without tripping over all the cables. Not sure how well this will show up, but we will give it a go. So, it currently says blank disc on the screen. Hopefully you can see there is the record head. And I press record. That drops down onto the disc. Unpause it. And it is now recording. Well, it's not recording because there's no input. But it is showing as recording. So if we now stop it. We hit eject, table of contents is writing, and it is ejected. Right. So, all that's left to do really is to connect it back up to the stack and see if it works. And there we go, it works. It's recording a bit of Elgar, and let me turn it down before I get a content match, but you can see the VU meter there moving up and down to show it is actually recording something, so which corresponds with that. So yeah, unfortunately I've had to go analog. It was set up for Toslink optical out, but there isn't a optical out on the back of my amp, only a coaxial out, and there isn't a coaxial input on here, only a coaxial output, which is annoying. So I've had to go analog. But it works. So we'll just let it do a bit of recording, maybe a couple of tracks, and then we'll play it back and make sure all is good. So it recognised the space between tracks, so it's automatically selected a second track. I'll show you that when it gets to the end of this one. So far, so good. So you can see, reaches the end of a track. It can tell, it sees from the gap, and there we go, on the track number 6. So while I've got to input the names manually, which will be an absolute ball ache, but I'll do that when it's finished. It does at least see a gap between tracks and register that that is a gap between tracks, so I haven't got to edit and break all the tracks up afterwards. So that's, you know, fairly good stuff. But most importantly, it's working. Well, hopefully we'll find out when I play it back. The interesting bit will be, this is I think I put a 74-minute mini disc in there, and this is 76 minutes and 27 seconds. The best of Elgar 1857 to 1934. So we will see what happens then. So a moment of truth. Turn it from a CD, put that back in. Table of contents reading. And bugger. Well, that is annoying. Well, so there you have it. Unfortunately, a disappointing end to the video. It sometimes happens like that. It's unfortunate, but that's the real world. After money, time and a lot of faffing about, the record still doesn't work. Now, I don't know if there's a fault deeper within the unit, or whether the parts I bought, obviously we know the laser was faulty, maybe the record head was faulty as well, maybe I buggered it up changing it. I said maybe it's a fault deeper within the unit, but you have to get to a point with some units that it's just not worth moving forward. Parts aren't available for these, so you're moving on to more second-hand parts that may or may not work. And yeah, you know, price of replacements of these aren't hugely expensive, and it still plays fine. So for now, it's unfortunate, but we're going to leave it there. I may revisit this at a later date, perhaps. I know I've got a problem with the 8-track player, and the left-hand tape deck is starting to get a bit weak, so I have ordered a belt set for that. I think that's a capacitor in the left-hand audio output circuit. So once I've got them out, I may just pop the lid off this and just make sure everything's okay, but basically that's the end for this one. So disappointing end, but that's how it goes sometimes. So just the usual thing: like, share, subscribe, comment below, hit the little bell icon, and I'll see you in the next one.